Chapter 13, From its services to consulting. Infosys didn't remain only a software development company. It expanded into IT consulting, digital transformation, cloud, data, cybersecurity, engineering, business process management, artificial intelligence, and enterprise technology. This transformation was necessary because technology keeps changing. A company that survives for 40 years cannot keep selling yesterday's technology forever. Chapter 14, the INFOS Wise Ecosystem. Today, Infosys is more than one company. Its ecosystem includes businesses and subsidiaries such as Infosys BPM, Edge Verve Systems, Infosys Consulting, and Infosys Public Services. Edgeworm is particularly important because it houses technology products such as Finacle and other platforms. So the company has evolved from software services into services plus consulting plus platforms plus products plus AI plus digital transformation. Chapter 15, Acquisitions and Expansion. Infosys also expanded through acquisitions. The strategy was simple. Instead of building every capability from zero, sometimes acquire companies that already have technology, customers, talent, or expertise. This helped Infosys enter and strengthen positions in areas such as consulting, digital services, cloud, engineering, and other specialized technologies. That is another important startup lesson. You don't always have to build everything yourself. Sometimes build, sometimes buy, sometimes partner. A mature company needs to know the difference. Chapter 16, INFOSYS Foundation. Infosys also created the Infosys Foundation in 1996. The purpose was broader than business. It supported areas including education, healthcare, rural development, arts and culture, and social welfare. This is important because the story of a large company isn't only about revenue. It is also about what does the company do with the scale it creates. Chapter 17, The Leadership Transitions. One of the interesting aspects of Infosys is that the company did not remain dependent on one founder forever. Narayana Murthy eventually handed leadership to the next generation. Then came leaders such as Nandan Nilekani, Chris Gopalkrishnan, S.D. Shibulal, and later leadership teams. The company went through multiple transitions. Some were smooth, some were controversial, some created debates among shareholders and employees. But leadership transition is one of the biggest tests for a founder led company. A founder can build the company, but a great institution needs to survive the founder. Chapter 18, The Challenges. Infosys' journey wasn't perfect. The company faced economic downturns, technology disruptions, global competition, currency fluctuations, employee concerns, leadership debates, corporate governance controversies, and pressure from investors. There were periods when the company's growth slowed. There were also periods of intense public discussion around leadership and governance. And this is important for our podcast because a company biography shouldn't be company was founded, gives company became successful, gives end. Real businesses are messy. They have good years, bad years, mistakes, internal disagreements, market pressure, competition, and reinvention. Chapter 19, the I Revolution. Chapter 19, the I Revolution. Now we arrive at the newest chapter, artificial intelligence. AI is changing the IT services industry itself. And for Infosys, this creates both an opportunity and a threat. Why? Because if AI can automate parts of software development, then traditional IT services models have to evolve. Infosys has responded by investing heavily in AI. Its Infosys Topaz initiative focuses on generative AI and AI powered enterprise transformation. By FY 2026, Infosys said AI led programs were deployed across 90% of its top 200 clients. So the company is trying to move from we provide software engineers toward we help enterprises transform themselves using AI. That is a massive business model transition. Chapter 20, where INFOSY stands today. And now let's look at the numbers. For FY 2026, revenue 1,78,650 crore rupees. That's more than 20 billion US dollars. Net profit 29,440 crore rupees. Free cash flow 33,097 crore rupees. Dividend per share 48 rupees. And Infosys reported more than 3,28,000 employees as of 30th June 2026. From 7 engineers to more than 3,28,000 employees. From US 250 US dollars to a company generating more than US 20 billion US dollars in annual revenue. That's the scale of the transformation. Chapter 21, what made INFOSYS different? So, what actually made Infosys successful? Was it technology? Yes. Was it talented engineers? Absolutely. Was it global demand? Definitely. But there was something deeper: process, quality, transparency, corporate governance, employee participation, global delivery, long term thinking. The founders understood that building a global company required more than technical talent. It required trust. A global client has to trust you with critical systems. An employee has to trust you with their career. An investor has to trust you with their money. And a company has to maintain that trust over decades. Chapter 22, INFOSYSVS, a modern startup. Now imagine Infosys starting today. Its initial pitch might sound something like, we are 7 engineers. We have US 250 US dollars. We want to build a global technology company from India. An investor might ask, what's your valuation? What's your monthly recurring revenue? How many users do you have? What is your burn rate? But the founders would have had something more important: a long term vision. They weren't necessarily trying to become a unicorn as quickly as possible. They were trying to build an institution. And that's a huge difference. Chapter 23, the biggest lesson: think global. One of Infosys' earliest decisions was incredibly important. Its first client was in New York. That means the company was thinking internationally from almost the beginning. Today's startup founders talk about global from day one. Infosys was effectively practicing that philosophy decades ago. The lesson is your company may be born in one city, but your market doesn't necessarily have to be limited by geography. Chapter 24, the second lesson: employees are not just cost. In traditional businesses, employees can be viewed primarily as an expense. Infosys developed a different philosophy. It invested heavily in training, learning, leadership, technical skills, and employee stock ownership. The company understood something fundamental. In an IT services company, people are the product. The servers can be purchased, the office can be rented, but expertise has to be developed. That is why talent became one of Infosys' biggest assets. Chapter 25, the third lesson, trust I as a business asset. Infosys' journey also demonstrates the economic value of trust. If a global company gives Infosys a critical technology project, it is trusting Infosys with data, systems, money, customers, and reputation. That trust takes years to build, and it can disappear quickly. For startups, this is an enormous lesson. Don't think only about how do I acquire customers. Think, how do I make customers trust me enough to stay? Chapter 26, from 250 US dollars to 20 billion US dollars. Let's go back to the number we started with, 250 US dollars. That's where Infosys started. Today, more than 20 billion US dollars in annual revenue, more than 3 lakh 28,000 employees, operations across 59 countries, publicly traded in India and the United States, a global technology and consulting company, and a major part of India's technology story. The journey took more than 4 decades. Final chapter, the INFOSYS lesson. The story of Infosys isn't really about software, it is about building an institution. 7 engineers started with 250 US dollars. They had almost none of the advantages today's startups have, but they had skill, discipline, vision, global ambition, and patience. They built a company. The company built an ecosystem. The ecosystem created careers. The careers created wealth, and the company helped change India's position in the global technology industry. So the next time you see INFY on the stock market, remember, you're not just looking at a ticker symbol. You're looking at the result of a journey that started with 7 engineers and 250 US dollars. And perhaps the biggest lesson for today's entrepreneurs is this: don't focus only on building a startup, build something that can become an institution. This was the story of Infosys. From 7 engineers to a global technology